This story of us was an amazing mistake that brought together a girl and her dog. This is about Lynn and Asher. Lynn always loved animals, especially dogs. But after her divorce, Lynn's ex-husband ended up with their 2 dogs. The dogs were sisters, so they did not want to separate them. They were young and quite a handful that needed a lot of attention. There was no way for her to give the pets the care they needed because Lynn had to travel for work. Reluctantly, and also admittedly, Lynn realized that her ex-husband would be a better fit and could supply an amazing home for them. With no pets or people at home, the house was empty, and Lynn felt a very big void in her life. She decided to volunteer at Animal Adoption Center in New Jersey and truly loved her experiences there. Her family and friends would say, "Oh God, you're going to feel bad and have 1,000,000 pets." Yes, she felt bad for the orphaned pets, but also felt good taking care of them while they were finding their forever homes. Her heart would beam when she watched one of them get adopted. But there was one dog that she just could not understand why no one adopted him. Asher was a 5-year-old American Bulldog mix living in Georgia with a couple who was having a baby. But when the baby was born, the couple decided they could not have a dog anymore. So they brought Asher to an animal shelter that networks with other shelters all across USA. Unfortunately, there was nowhere for Asher to go, so he had orders to stay put until they found him a new family. Well, a month went by, and he was on a truck headed up to his new home in New Jersey. But when he got there, oh no, there was a mistake in his paperwork. He wasn't supposed to go to New Jersey at all. So Asher ended up at the Animal Adoption Center where Lynn volunteered. Lynn started to walk him every day. She noticed how good he was on a leash, and Asher never bothered with other dogs or barked loudly. Unlucky for him, he was a little older, and people usually prefer puppies and young dogs. With each visit, Asher was passed up by families with good homes, but every day a connection became stronger between him and his favorite volunteer, Lynn. She knew she couldn't be the one to take him home, but she would still hold her breath when she walked into the shelter, anxiously hoping her Asher would still be there. Well, one day Lynn got incredible news. Her company was restructuring and her job was going to change. She wouldn't have to travel for work anymore. After a very long, sleepless night of excited contemplation, she decided the next day she was going to adopt Asher. But when she got to the animal shelter the next day, she found out another family was coming to get him. With mixed feelings of happiness that Asher finally found a home and disappointment that it would not be with her, Lynn fulfilled her usual duties and took care of the animals. She made sure to stop by Asher's cage and let him know that he would be going home with his new family. She swore she saw disappointment in his eyes, and Lynn realized she probably would never see him again. At the end of her shift, when all her work was done, and with butterflies flitting around in her stomach, she asked the manager, "How did everything go with Asher's new family?" The manager said, "It didn't. They must have changed their minds," and pointed to the pet adoption board. There, next to all the other animal names, was Asher's, and right next to his name were the words, "Going home with Lynn." The next day, she went back to pick up Asher and had no intentions of volunteering. But when she got there, the place was in chaos. They had gotten a new shipment of dogs and cats, and there were no volunteers to help out. The cages needed to be cleaned, and the dogs needed to be fed. She told the manager that she would stay and help before she took Asher home. Asher saw Lynn immediately as she walked back to the dog area. It was as if he knew he was going home, and then looked confused as Lynn started going in and out of the other cages. She was in the cage next to his, petting the dog in that cage, when the first time she heard him bark. He started barking and barking. Rumor has it that in dog-to-human translation, Asher was saying, "Get away from her! I've been working her for weeks, and I'm going home with her. You hear me? I'm going home with her." And about an hour later, he did.